today we have an amazing person, Dale Hill, with us from Broomfield. Dale, welcome to Community Conversations.
Thank you.
So I've been chatting with Dale, and we both belong to a group. The initials are CCBIB, which is part of the American Council of the Blind, and it stands for Colorado Council for the Visually Impaired and Blind. And Dale is the vice president. So I'm excited to have Dale here today because Dale has a little bit different of approach to how his training and education went as far as learning to live independently with his disability. And so I'll definitely have Dale share some of that. But Dale, can you share a little bit about, we were talking earlier about how you found out about your visual impairment and kind of where it started, and because it's a rare thing that occurred, and so could you share with our listeners a little bit about that?
I really didn't know here till this last year really what had caused the eyesight loss. The first time I really noticed is when I went to get my driver's license when I was going to school at Washington State. I couldn't even read the bottom line of the lines, and so I went back. I had a friend go in and get some of them, and I went back in, and they caught me. But I went to a neurologist in Wenatchee, Washington, and he changed the glasses and got it back to where it was 20/40 so I could drive. And from there, it's just been going down steadily. And then 88, 89, it got worse again, and that's when I finally decided that I needed to give up the driving because I knew I was going to hurt somebody, and I didn't want to do that. So I moved up here and lived with my sister and brother-in-law until they decided to have a family and needed my room for the nursery. So then I moved. So they found this place. We found this place in Broomfield. It's called Royal Village Apartments, and it was the only place, and it was really cheap when I first moved in. It's gotten a little more expensive, but it's still cheaper than any other place you can find anywhere. And so what I have, and I finally found out this year, the initials are BBBF1, and they call it Bardet-Biedl syndrome. And I've had that all my life because of the different things, because I have scars on my hands and feet where I actually had extra cartilage in that, and that's one of the symptoms. And then the obesity and being short and that and everything. So there's actually a registry out there for that syndrome, and I've joined that registry, so we'll find out what can happen or anything. But the vision is kind of stabilized some, I think. But I had more vision when I first moved up here because I started going to. Well, I wanted to see if I could get back into school, so I went to the Front Range and went there. I didn't get a degree from there, but I did some, and then I moved on to Metro State University College of Denver. I got to get it straight here.
There's a lot of.
When I went there, it was Metro State College of Denver instead of Metro State University. It's Metro State University of Denver now. But the reason that is because there was two Metro States. There was the one here in Denver and the one in Minnesota, and the one here in Denver won an award, but they gave it to the people in Minnesota because there wasn't any designation which was which at the time.
Okay.
That's the reason you have the Denver on it. And I went there and got my Bachelor of Arts degree, which was a contract major, and actually the gal that was my advisor, we started it because she wanted to get a program going for public relations, and I was kind of her guinea pig, and so I did that. And then a lot of stuff, I did it through the Disabled Students Center, where people would come and read me the test, and I would tell them what the answer was, or that. And then also, I have a double major because my other major was political science, so I got two together. I kind of go kind of hand in hand, I think, anyway. But nobody wanted to give me a job because I think a lot of it was that I had a lot of people say, yeah, you're qualified and everything, but other people, and a lot of it was afterwards talking that they just didn't want to have to pay for the other equipment. And I
the
told
accommodations,
them, accommodations
right?
for for the ADA. But I said, well, I got a lot of it myself. I'll just bring it in, But that's still. But that's where I stand on everything and that. So
well, Dale, so that's kind of amazing. So you went pretty much your whole childhood and even into your beginning of your adulthood with normal vision, and then it seems like it happened pretty quickly.
Well, actually, I think it's probably the way they talked it is kind of just was really gradual, and like I said, I wore glasses all my life, and I think maybe they got changed off and on. I never knew for sure because even when I started losing vision, I really didn't realize I was losing it when I was going to school at Washington State. I just sat up in the front to make sure I could see the board and stuff and everything.
Right.
And
so you've really had to really self-taught yourself. And like you said, it happened gradually. And I know there's a lot of our listeners out there that can probably relate to you. Like they weren't quite sure that, they just needed stronger glasses or they needed, to sit closer to the board and just sort of accepted it as it went along. But then it hit a point like, oh, this is something a little more serious. And
because like in 88, 89, I went to one retina person, and he's the one that said, well, the rods and cones in my eyes are had deteriorated, and so and that's one of the other symptoms of this Bardet-Biedl is that they do deteriorate and stuff, and that, so that's another one, and that's what caused a lot of it to happen. And I've had like 2 or 3 different retina people tell me different things. The gal here in Louisville, she said MAC, and then the guy went to Dr. Kanoff. He did cataract surgery, and then he was calling it RP, but the Bardet-Biedl is kind of like RP, but it's not completely retinitis pigmentosa.
Right.
But it acts like it, sort of. So
yeah. So you made the choice yourself. It sounds like that you were going to go back to school, get a degree. And even while you were going to school, you were the one that really advocated for yourself to make sure that things were accessible. It sounds like you didn't really have Division of Vocational Rehabilitation or maybe the National Federation. You didn't have people advocating for you. It sounds like you were your own advocate.
In fact, I heard about American Council of the Blind, so I started getting their magazine and everything to start with, and then the one here in the state, I got their newsletter. I can't remember what it's called right now, but I got it for quite a while, and then American Council of Blind, and I said, well, you got to join to be able to keep going. So I said, well, for $10 a year, it's $5 for nationals and $5 for your local, and I said, that's cheap, to get all this information, because the Blind Monitor, they have a lot of information there. They talked to the one guy out of Switzerland who's doing all this stuff on retinitis pigmentosa, and there's a company with a laser. They're he's doing a lot of stuff in the University of California at Berkeley with this laser for MAC. So I catch all this stuff, and I keep my eye doctor informed, and she really loves it, and in fact, my sister saw this thing and she looked it up. Her daughter's husband is IT. It's they've actually started making a retina with a 3D printer.
Wow!
But they just getting started with it on the tissue.
And so if one of our listeners out there, if they wanted to maybe join your group that you're vice president of, or find out more about the American Council of the Blind, what's the first step that they could do?
Well, they could call me or my president, either one. My number is 303-466-1192, and I have voicemail there so everybody can always leave a message, and you guys will love this one. Since I'm legally blind, my message says I'm driving, so I'll call you back as soon as possible. So please leave a message. And I got this kind of scary laugh that I do, and the only reason I put the last part on because I had an older gentleman from the church, and he called several times, and I was in the shower, heard it ringing, and the next thing this guy's knocking on the door. Don't you answer your phone? I said, well, if you leave a message, I'd give you a call back. And but instead of leaving me a message, he finally came over to the door and knocked. And I said, well, I was in the shower and everything when you was calling. and stuff.
And can you give that number one more time because as you know, when you're blind and visually impaired, it takes a little bit of extra time, to get that number down. So what's that number one more time?
303-466-1192. That's my phone number. I'm the vice president of it, and I can't remember. I don't know Marlene's last name. All I know is Marlene.
Yeah, and if they contact you, they can reach out to Marlene. And Marlene is the president.
What I'll do is I can give the numbers to Marlene and the email because she's the one that calls everybody in on the meetings and sends emails out to everybody and stuff. So
yeah, and this would be a great time to reach out to Dale because this Sunday, September 12th. You're having a picnic that if people wanted to get involved. But how often do you meet and when do you meet?
We usually meet once a month, and I think it's usually the last Thursday of the month, and it's like at 7 o'clock. We're still just doing a meeting instead of a meeting in person yet. And stuff.
So you're meeting is it on Zoom?
Well, Zoom or actually Marlene she just calls me, and I think she maybe does Google call or something like that.
Oh, okay. So there's lots of options. It's easy. I've been on the call a few times, and it was really easy for me to get in. I think once did the video thing, and then the other time I called in. So it was really easy. You guys make it really easy for people.
Marlene says they're going to have a speaker, and then this one guy gal used to be the president. Her name's Aisha, and she's going to talk about the stuff that went on at the national ACB meeting.
Oh, wonderful!
So we're going to do that, and then we're supplying the meat and the drink and that and stuff. So
okay. Well, that's great. And so if you want more information about that picnic or how to get on the call for this really great group, and it really is for anybody who's blind or visually impaired, or if you have a family member who's blind or visually impaired. It really is a great group. They have great topics that they cover. So Dale, that's awesome that you're vice president of that club. I know that, it's not really a club.
No, it's more or less just kind of an organization of people that are visually impaired or blind. We don't have anybody that's totally blind in the group yet that I know of anyway. I think most everybody's just visually impaired.
Everybody's got their own level, which is great that you guys are accepting of that. And the American Council of the Blind does a lot of good. They have a lot of really incredible information online as well.
Yeah, not only online, but they have the 800 numbers like they do the Washington Connection. So if you call in that, they tell everything that's going on back in D.C. for legislating issues that are coming up and everything and stuff. They're still fighting with the U.S. Treasury, get the tactile on the paper money. So.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's been going on for a long time. And those kinds of topics are really fascinating to me about how long it takes.
And then, it took them 5 or 6 years about it, but they do have the and they actually have a committee that's working more and more on the visually accessible. That's what Comcast or for where it talks on when it's not any talking in the stuff and everything.
Oh, like the audio descriptions.
Yeah, audio.
Yeah. Well,
they call it audio description ACB, but Comcast calls it video description. So.
Oh, they do. Oh, I didn't know that. So, I know my remote. I just push a button and I tell her what to do.
Mine, I have the talking remote with Comcast, and I just say turn on video description, but on ABC when it's athletic stuff, I have to turn it off because for some reason it don't tell you what's going on in athletic. It goes to the Spanish one, so I have to turn it off. No. So I don't get the game in Spanish, and stuff. But
that's funny. I wonder. I did not know that. Maybe that's why I've often wondered why the commentator is in Spanish.
Yeah,
I didn't know I needed to turn off the.
You just turn off the description.
See, I learn something new every time I do these. Dale, you're really busy. You're a really busy guy. And the other thing that you shared with me is that you're really active and have been for decades with the United States. It's the JCI scholarship program, which. Well, you tell me a little bit more about that. That was
okay.
I've
been
really
doing that since '98. I got my senatorship in '98, and the senatorship, that's given to people who have done a lot in the JCs, because the JCs actually have an age limit. It's 20. It used to be 18 to 36. Now it's 21 to 40. And after that, you're supposed to kind of get out. But us old timers, we stick around. But what they do, people have done a lot. They give what's called a senatorship, and then when you get that, you get a number through the Junior Chamber International. And actually, they have what's called a World Congress every year, and they go to different countries every year. I've been to Denmark, Hawaii, Vienna.
Wow!
And so every year, in the last of October, the first part of November, they do what they call World Congress. Well, the U.S. Senate has a foundation, and that's where they do the scholarship. And the way that works, every state that still has a senatorship committee, because there's like about 5 or 6 states that don't have a program anymore, a chapter anymore in the Senate. But what we do, we go through. I get the scholarships. The seniors, for the seniors every year, and then they send that to me, and then I have a group of people that judge, and we go in and judge them. And then we send 2 to the national program manager. Her name's Sherry Mendoza. She's out of Oklahoma. And so we send those to her about the middle of February. And then about by the middle of April, we know who the winners are, if we have a winner or not. And she lets us know. And then what they do, they send that stuff to the schools, so the schools can present those scholarships to the winners in one of their auditorium type things, when they all get together in the auditorium for their different things, and they act so the schools know if they've got a winner or not. And then that's $1,000 scholarship. And when I first started, it was 15, and it went to 20, and it went back down to 15 in 2008 when they had the recession.
So is it 15 nationally, or is it 15 per state?
No, it's 15 nationally.
Nationally. Okay. Wow.
But we're up to 35 scholarships now.
Oh, wonderful.
So
and does Colorado usually have somebody that gets awarded one of those scholarships?
I have averaged a winner every year since I've been doing it, because there have been 3 or 4 years that I've had both of our people have won, and so we get scholarships from all over the whole state. I have a deal now. It sends it out electronically. It's called Colorado Council, and they send it out to all the advisors electronically, so I don't mail it anymore. I mailed it and that, but so there's over 400 high schools now in the state of Colorado.
So if there are listeners out there that have high school seniors this year, or grandchildren, that kind of thing, how do they find? Do they just go have their student, or does the parent go to the counselor?
Actually, if you go to ussenate.org, you'll see there's a section for the scholarships, and in every state, the person that's the project manager, it goes in and it shows me as the person for Colorado, and it has my name, my address, and my phone number, and the email address that we're using. But the main thing is we do not take anything electronically, because if something was to go wrong, we didn't get it all, then that scholarship would get thrown out. So everything is still a hard copy that we judge, and we ask them to send us.
Wow. Okay.
So, but like I say, it goes out every year, and I do through Colorado Council, and they send it out to all the advisors and everything. The only thing different this year, we did change our email address, because last year we was having problems, because before it was set up where if I got it, it went to my friend's computer too. But last year, for some reason, we had some that didn't go, and so.
Wow. And so they just go. What was that? www.ussenate.gov.org. ussenate.org.
And then
to find out about
and
that
just come up to just go to the section that says scholarships, and then every state's listed by who the program managers in the state, and actually, if I remember right, you can actually get the application there, but I actually have the application out like with Colorado Council, and everybody has it completely. A lot of I've got a lot of the same advisors all the time, so they're usually looking for it in September or whatever, so they kind of know. And then
That's wonderful.
and not only do I do it to the schools that way, but I also do I send it to the Denver Scholarship Committee, because when the people do the Denver Scholarship, they actually have to apply for other scholarships to be eligible for the one through the Denver Scholarship Program.
That's wonderful.
So I send it there and everything and stuff. And
Wow.
but no, it's like I say, it's we do it really good. And this year the judging is going to be longer, because we're actually now adding a scholarship for people who are going to want to go to vocational schools or junior colleges, because in the past it's been strictly an academic 4-year school.
That's wonderful. That's neat that you're so involved with your community, and I really want to thank you for coming all the way to Boulder from Broomfield
no
today. It was a treat to get to know you, and I'm going to be obviously on some of those phone calls, and hopefully I can make it to your picnic on Sunday. And Dale, what was your phone number one more time, so if people want to reach out to you?
303-466-1192.
Great.
And I have voicemail there, so you can always leave a message.
And you should just call, because now I want to call Dale just to hear his voice message. Well, thank you so much, Dale. Take care and have a wonderful day.